Hey everyone, welcome to the video. I'm Billy from Strikes and Subs, and for today's video, I'll be giving my take who the winners and losers from the main card of UFC 246 should fight next. I want to stress this is purely my opinion. It is not right, it is not wrong, it is merely an opinion. I'm a UFC enthusiast, not expert, and all matchups that are made here are based off my own personal opinion. I am making my decisions mainly based off what fight makes the most sense at this time. I'm also taking into account rankings, the quality of the potential fight, and also how realistic it is based on timing and scheduling. Starting with Showtime, Anthony Pettis, who is coming off the loss to Diego Ferreira. He provides an interesting scenario, as although he is now on a 2-fight losing streak, Pettis has the ability and the results to show he can jump between the lightweight and the welterweight division. The fight that I would like to see Anthony Pettis have is with former UFC welterweight champion Ruthless Robbie Lawler. Both of these men, I truly believe, will put on an incredible fight, as both men share a kickboxing background, but also grappling based backgrounds, as Pettis is training BJJ and Lawler has a wrestling background. This has the capability of being a great fight between two fan favourites who desperately need to get back in the win column. Additionally, Pettis is currently suspended until July the 17th unless he gets clearance for his left foot by an orthopedic doctor. However, he can be cleared as early as mid-February. Given that Lawler just had a fight cancelled, the timelines of these fighters do line up fairly well, making this fight possible. An honourable mention is Gregor Gillespie knocked to Kevin Lee. Both men are similar in the rankings, and Pettis could use the win to still prove he has it at lightweight. Meanwhile, Gillespie could use it to add a name to his resume. Moving on to the winner of that contest, Diego Ferreira, who is riding an incredible 6-fight winning streak, which dates back all the way to January 2016. The win pushed him into the top 15 in the lightweight rankings, landing him at the 11th spot. So obviously he's going to have to face off against a ranked opponent in the same division. The fight that I would like to see Ferreira have is a contest against the 14th ranked Islam Makhachev, who is also running a 6-fight win streak, and he also has an insane record of 18 wins and 1 loss throughout his MMA career. Both men have backgrounds in grappling and judo as well, so this will also be a contest that will probably be on the ground for a lot of the time. This fight also makes sense, as Makhachev was supposedly rumoured to fight the higher-ranked Kevin Lee, who instead took a fight against a different fighter. Ferreira is currently suspended until mid-July. However, if an MRI on his right knee comes back all good, he can fight earlier. And given a good training camp generally goes anywhere from 3 to 5 months, this will line up well in both men's timelines. An honourable mention is Al Iaquinta. Iaquinta will be a great test for Ferreira and will really give a true impression where he fits in within the top 15. Ode Osborne is in a tough spot now, as he is obviously coming off this loss to the unranked Brian Kelleher, having won a contract through a round 1 submission victory on Dana White's Contender Series. There was probably some hype behind Osborne coming into this fight, and now the hype has slowed. So obviously he needs a win to get the momentum going again. Obviously, he won't be fighting a ranked opponent at this time. The fight that I would book Osborne for is a clash against Chinese fighter Pianyuan Liu, who is currently on a 2-fight losing streak himself after going on a 9-fight winning streak. Liu is able to win fights by any means necessary, whether that be a knockout, submission, or even a decision. Liu also last fought in December, so their timelines match as well, which is good. Osborne is also only suspended until the 9th of February, so look for him to have a quick turnaround. Brian Kelleher got the win in this bantamweight contest against Osborne, and now holds a 20-10 record. The win, however, did not push him into the rankings, which is fairly understandable given the opponent he was fighting. The fight that I'd like to see Kelleher fight is a matchup with the winner of Casey Kenny and Merab Devashili, who are fighting on February the 15th at Fight Night Anderson vs. Blachowicz. The winner of this matchup will most likely get that number 15 spot in the bantamweight division, and this is a spot that Kelleher may be in a position to strive for. Obviously, with this fight happening in under a month, the schedules line up well. This is of course, however, if the winner doesn't sustain a significant injury. An honourable mention would be the winner of the fight between Andrew Yule and Jonathan Martinez that is happening at UFC 247. Moving on to the heavyweight division, where Maurice Green lost his contest against Alexei Olenek. So now he is on a 2-fight losing streak, and he probably needs to take a step back and face an unranked heavyweight fighter. An interesting fight that I would book would be a contest between him and Tanner Boser. Boser is coming off a decision loss where he faced the 15th ranked Cerrone in South Korea in December. Both men could use this fight against one another to set themselves up for a fight which will then put them in a spot to go after a spot on the rankings. Both men also have great knockout power, so for most fans that is always fun and enjoyable to watch. Boser has also about a month left on his medical suspension, and Green is most likely going to be out until July, so a fight may be possible after Green has fully recovered. An honourable mention will be the winner of the Ben Rothwell and Gian Villante fight, which takes place in April. This will also be a fight that will be used to aim for a ranking-earning fight. Alexei Olenek, who was the winner of that fight, got the round 1 submission win. However, it did not result in him moving further up the rankings, so he stays at number 12. Given his age of 42, it may be tough for him to get into the top 5 and work himself towards a title shot, but it certainly doesn't mean that he won't be able to compete at a very high level. The fight I would book for Olenek in his next fight, and what it seems many people would book for his next fight, is a contest against the returning Fabricio Verdum. These two men were originally meant to fight in September 2018. However, it was in May of 2018 where Verdum got flagged for drug violations by USADA. He then received a sentence putting him out until May 2020, which got reduced to April 2020 due to him helping with other investigations. This May return is good timing, as the UFC could potentially make a fight for UFC 250 between the pair of submission experts. This also happens to be in Verdum's home country of Brazil. Verdum is a former UFC heavyweight champion as well, so not only is this a good test to see what Olenek can do, but it is a good test to see if Verdum can still do it. An honourable mention would be a contest against Blagoy Ivanov, who is coming off a split decision loss to Derek Lewis. Raquel Pennington lost her fight against Holly Holm via a unanimous decision, which now makes it 4 losses in her last 5 fights, and dropped her to 6th ranked in the bantamweight division. The fight that I would book for Pennington is a matchup against the 7th ranked Ketlen Vieira. Vieira recently fought in December at UFC 245 and lost via knockout to Irene Aldana. Prior to this fight, Vieira was on a 10-fight win streak, so she would obviously like to use a fight against Pennington to try to get herself back up the rankings. This would be a good fight, as both fighters would bring different skill sets to the fight, so it'll be an interesting clash of styles. Pennington being a boxer, and Vieira specialising in jiu-jitsu and judo. Both fighters have fought recently, as I've previously stated, so a matchup anytime from May to July is very impossible between both of these women. Another fight that I'd like to see Pennington take is a matchup against Yana Kunitskaya, who is coming off a TKO loss to Aspen Ladd. The winner of the match that I just talked about was former bantamweight champion of the world, Holly Holm. The fight that I'd book for Holm is a matchup against Irene Aldana. Aldana recently knocked out Ketlen Vieira, as I'd previously discussed, and is now on a 2-fight win streak, winning 5 of her last 6 fights, which puts her at number 5 in the bantamweight rankings. A lot of 5s there. This will be a good test for Vieira, and this fight will either be a fight that will be a number 1 contender fight, or a fight where the winner gets to fight for the number 1 contender spot. Given that Vieira last fought in December, both of these ladies' timelines also add up well, so a fight in June or July is very possible. Another matchup which Holm could very well contest is a contest between Germaine Durand and Mean. These two ladies fought for the inaugural featherweight title in what some described as a very boring fight, so give them the chance to run it back and create some magic where the winner would fight for the title. Note, I also would have liked to have seen Holm fight Aspen Ladd in a number 1 contenders fight. However, Ladd has recently been scheduled for a fight against another opponent. Next, we get to the main event. The loser, Donald Cowboy Cerrone, is coming off that shocking 40-second knockout loss to McGregor in the main event of 246. This extends his losing streak to 3 losses. However, none of these fights are walks in the park. He lost to the 1st, 3rd, and 4th ranked lightweight contenders in the world. He currently sits as the 5th ranked contender, so now if I was a matchmaker, I would put him into a fight between the winner of Paul Felder and Dan Hooker. This contest goes down February the 23rd in New Zealand. Cerrone is, in my opinion, sort of transferring into a gatekeeper sort of role, if he hasn't already, with all his losses either coming to former world champions or elite fighters. Cerrone is a great test and will be a great name on the resume of either Felder or Hooker, as they look to go for the title. Cerrone will also want to get a win here to show he's actually still capable of getting the UFC gold. Cerrone, however, has to serve a 6-month medical suspension before he competes, so I'm not sure if this fight will actually be able to occur. An honourable mention is a contest between Cowboy and Santiago Ponzinibbio at welterweight. This should be a great contest. Now for the man, Conor McGregor, who's coming off an incredible knockout win in his return fight against Cerrone. Now, as it's Conor McGregor, everyone is throwing out all these different names, so I'm going to give you a few main names that I think would be great fights with McGregor, and then a few honourable mentions at the end. Starting off with the lightweight division, an obvious one is the winner of Tony Khabib. Other fights include a rematch with Dustin Poirier, and then maybe a matchup against Justin Gaethje. In the welterweight division, he also has options. As the title holder, Usman obviously provides an option, although I believe this is fairly unlikely given McGregor's ranking. The main fights everyone is talking about, however, is the trilogy with Nate Diaz and a matchup against Jorge Masvidal, which both are fairly great options. However, the two main matchups at welterweight I'd like to see McGregor facing either Colby Covington or Robbie Lawler. Colby is coming off a loss to the champion, so he'll be looking for a big win and a big check. There's no bigger check in the UFC than the one you get from a fight with McGregor. Additionally, just imagine the press conferences we'll get between the pair. Robbie Lawler, on the other hand, is the former welterweight champion of the world. It will be a great test and fight for McGregor, as Lawler will stand and trade shots with him. An honourable mention that would be also fairly interesting will be a matchup against the nicest mother, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, a belt McGregor claimed he wants. Thanks guys for listening. Make sure you leave the matches you will make in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, just remember, this is my opinion. I'm an enthusiast, not an expert. Cheers.